What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the SV650's horrible exhaust. I promised you guys that we would fix this, and we have today. We've got a very special new exhaust system that will be very familiar to you guys if you've been following the channel for a while. But today it's going to be about swapping off this horrible exhaust, getting our new one on there, seeing the differences between a cheap and expensive exhaust, and we've got a special guest here today. We're going to make sure that we get a second opinion on it, because I know to you guys, sometimes I can say something that's, you know, doesn't sound right or doesn't look right, and you guys don't believe me, so we've got a second opinion today. It's none other than... This is Lord Spite.
What's up, guys?
For those of you who are unfamiliar, Spite has come in clutch with us. He got us our... You went and picked up that the replacement 919, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Spite helped us out with the original Hentai Hornet, one of the OG Discord guys, an official moderator on there too. Pretty cool stuff, but he's going to be giving us a second opinion today on the exhaust and letting you guys know that it's pretty terrible. You've already heard it before. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's not great. It's really not great.
Yeah, you were saying it sounds like a high-spec Harley, pretty much, right?
If I had to put a word to it, it's just loud. There's like there's no quality to the sound. There's no real bass like you'd like out of a nice high-tuned motor like this. But, you know, it doesn't really come through so much in the video, but it's not good. Yeah, it's no good. So today, swapping it off, we're about to show you the new exhaust, and we're gonna get a sound clip of the original one just so you can see how horrible it is, so let's get into it. All right, guys, in case you forgot, this is our wretched Dan Moto pipe that we put on the bike, and yeah, here's a quick little sound clip in case you forgot how awful it is. You really don't want to turn it on. I know. I hate it. That's enough of that. Alrighty, guys, we're back in the wonderful land of Leo Vince. I still don't know how to pronounce that. You guys have seen these guys before on our channel. We did them on the FZ07, wonderful sounding exhaust. We did it on the KTM RC390. I love Leo Vince's stuff. They also support the channel, which is great. But what I wanted to do right now was kind of like show the two exhausts and to just kind of like compare and contrast. So, Spite, what do you kind of notice on this one versus that one? Well, the first thing you got to notice on this is if you look down, and I'm not sure if you can see in there, but
let's see how my exposure's wrong. Oh, I can kind of see it.
What you'll actually see in there is a real set of baffles. It's going to actually dampen some of the noise. Yeah. And then we have in there the silencer, which, you know, if it's too loud, you can just pop it right in. So yeah, I mean, it gives you some flexibility, whereas this one, it's just like you get what you get, you know.
And I have heard that other Dan Moto systems actually do have the baffles in it. I just went with this insanely cheap option just to make sure we would try out and see what would happen. I think also, like, you know, the fit and finish of the materials over here, like actually get a gasket here. I mean, that exhaust literally doesn't even have a gasket right there. And so, I mean, it's nicer, you know, and you're looking at something that the price point, I think, for this is like $500 versus 140, so you'd expect to get something nicer, right?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to exhausts, I do think you kind of get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Not to say that pipe doesn't have its uses. I think that would be a great pipe for someone who's just trying to turn it into a, you know, light track weapon or something like that. Yeah. It's just, you know, slap it on, it's ready to go.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because even some tracks have like noise regulation. So this, I don't even know if you could run this.
You might not.
Yeah, because it's honestly so loud. But yeah, what we're gonna do now is just kind of slip that one off, put this one on. Should be pretty simple. Well, let's get after it. I normally just pinch it if it's not like something I'm gonna keep.
All right. Oh yeah. There's nothing to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's literally, I mean, it's lightweight racing, right?
Yeah. That's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 2.6.
Yeah, I saw that. Let's try to. That's not read. So lightweight, it won't read it. Yeah, but I mean, you can tell just by the other ones. The other ones are way.
There's literally nothing to that. So, I mean, now that it's off the bike and you look down at, I don't even know if it's got packing in there.
Probably not.
That's so ridiculous.
Bad. Yeah, let's get the proper one on there. So we got it all mated up now. Give us a spin. Boom. Look at that. Look at the high quality parts, man. What a difference. Where's our other shit pipe? Where did we put it?
It's over on the desk. I'll go grab it.
I mean, it's just night and day. Everything is thicker and heavier and nicer. And I mean, you don't want a super thick, heavy exhaust because then you end up with that thing over there. But at the same time,
I mean, with a slip-on, it's not. You're sure you're gonna save some weight, but for a street bike, who cares?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, I saved, you know, a couple of grams by getting some skeletonized levers.
It's like, cool, you still ride like shit.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. All right, let's get this bad boy on there and hear how it sounds.
Already, that looks so much nicer.
Yeah. Oh, it's way nicer. Reminds me of the FZ. Can't wait to hear how it sounds. One thing I want to do as well is tighten up the baffles because one of them
blowing out on you.
One of them popped out on the FZ. Yeah. All right, let's finish this up. Here we go, guys. All mated up. The new Leo Vince pipe. Just tighten the baffles because we had an issue on the FC07 where it flew off. We want to make sure that these stay on there so the winner can choose whether they want to pop them off or keep them on. Personally, I like keeping on the baffles because you still get that nice sound, but it's not obnoxious. Spite, what do you think?
I mean, it's night and day, man. It really is.
Yeah.
You get that really nice kind of stainless finish on the link pipe and the caps that match, and you get the nice laser etched Leo Vince on there. It's a really gorgeous pipe. It looks great. And yeah, it's a little bigger and yeah, it's a little quieter, but it's gonna sound infinitely better than that other one.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Let's start it up. Let's hear it. Alright guys, it is sounding awesome. It sounds exactly the way I would want my bike, but now we're going to take off these little baffles and see what the effects are.
They're actually spot welded in place. Take a look at that. Yeah. There's a little bead right there. Shit. So you got to crack that bead. Do you wouldn't happen to have like a chisel or something, just give it a whack?
I might. Let me take a look. I got a hammer if you want it. Or did you get that one?
I think so. I heard it go. At the very least, I'm just weakening it a little bit.
Yeah. Nah, it's still on there.
If it's too much work, it's too much work, but...
Yeah. I didn't know they welded them on. That was crazy.
It makes sense for places like California. If you can get this on there, then welding the thing in there makes it... Because you don't... This is just to undo the packing.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, we might just leave them on there.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right, guys, the new pipe is on there. It's looking good. We slapped on a new little Leo Vince sticker on there as well. Got the whole new pipe. And now, Spite and I are gonna take it out for a quick little rip. Let's do it. Alrighty, guys, what's going on? Well, you already know what's going on. We're in the middle of the episode because that's how this is gonna be edited, I hope. Here we go. It's the SV650's proper slip-on exhaust. We're here in City Park Road in Austin, Texas. We're about to go up and down here a little bit, kind of talk about the exhaust. We've got Spite on the bike, so he can kind of give us some impressions. So far, what do you think of it?
I mean, the ride up here, it's a peach. It's really a peach. That little V-twin, you know, it's nice and pokey. Through the turns, it's surprisingly capable, even though it's kind of a quote-unquote budget suspension. But,
yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying too. I think it's set up really well from the factory, and like, I mean, for me, I think I wouldn't really have too much problem using it like as is out of the box. It was really cool as you passed by me a couple times with the new Leo Vince. It was like you could hear it, but it wasn't crazy, you know, which is, I think, the perfect sweet spot.
And if you guys can see there, it's already, that link pipe's already starting to go gold.
Oh, it is, yeah, man, that looks really good.
So it's almost like a perfect match for that little cat it's got under there.
Yeah, and I think one thing we didn't talk about either is, because we were trying to do it in the video, we didn't get to it, is the The baffles here, so they have the 2 little hex bolts or Allen bolts that you could take them off. They're actually welded in place, so if you did want to take them off, you'd have to probably pop them off somehow. This is probably due to like compliance for emissions or something like that. So I would personally run the bike as is like this. I think it sounds good. It's loud enough and you can have fun with it. But to whoever wins this bike, well, you're probably watching this video, I hope you are anyways, you can take these baffles out, give it a super nice, cool, loud sound if you want. But yeah, let's give it a rip, man. Let's go.
Sounds good.
And I selfishly am on the Scrambler. I didn't want to put mileage on the R3. We'll use that excuse instead of the excuse that I actually like the Scrambler a lot more than the R3. Start it up for me, Jake.
Yeah, now that it's nice and warm.
All these dogs are looking at us like we're assholes. Alrighty. We are good to go. So how does it sound from the saddle when you're on the power?
Sitting on this bike with, you can hear it as I fly by.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that other one was just, it was savage, you know?
Yeah.
This has a lot more actual character as opposed to just volume.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I think the thing we've really kind of taken away from this is, like, you know, there's something to be said about quality of sound versus intensity or loudness of sound, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, having debunked the loud pipes save lives. Yeah.
that's now our new official position, so we have to stick to it.
But no, it's a much more, you know, I hate to say the word refined because that's kind of a gimmick, but it is a little bit more pulled together as a bike without that.
Yeah. And I think at 3 times the price point, you would really hope for that, right? It would really suck to put that on there, and it's just like, you know, loud without being a good sound.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it just goes to show that with that added price point comes a little bit of extra engineering, you know?
Yeah.
Not to say that you can't get a nice cheap pipe. My personal favorite go-to is Delcavic. They have systems that range from like 150 to, you know, 350-ish at the top end, depending on your bike, and it sounds good.
That's the Delcavics, right?
Yeah, Delcavic. Yeah, they're the one that our other moderator, Trevor, has on his Interceptor, actually.
Oh, okay. You know, it's surprising that the Interceptor is as loud as it is, being just a slip-on, but it sounds great. It's hard to like convey how much better it is unless you've heard it in person. But man, it's just, and that's a big reason why I love that you're here doing this video with me, because I wanted that second opinion to be like, no, it truly is so much better. It's so much better. Here, pull up a little closer to me so I can get I'll get some footage of you. Because yeah, the big thing I noticed too is just like going down the street, you know, the other pipe, it was a lot smaller than those two, and it looked cheap, you know, there was no two ways about it. It just looked like a cheap pipe. It didn't look like it was gonna really do much in the way of sound deadening, and it didn't at all. Like, it was just literally a tube. It didn't have any packing in it at all, no baffle, nothing.
Pretty well done, I think. It wasn't gonna fall apart or anything, but it just, you know, you want a little bit more than just a straight pipe, especially on a bike like this that's going to be a daily driver.
Yeah, now I think we've found a pipe that really matches the character of the bike and really matches the feel of it. I love we did it on the FZ07 too, but I love the twin can setup because it just kind of reminds people on the outside, it's like, hey, this is a, you know, a 2-cylinder bike. You know what I mean?
Yep. I will say the only thing that I would really change, well, there's 2 things about this bike, having ridden it now for, you know, a half hour, is the handlebars. They're just a wee bit narrow, and then putting in a slightly comfier seat. The seat's a little bit like a plank. It's fine for, you know, your around town, probably a couple hour group ride, but, you know, if you're actually wanting to do distance on it, it's not the seat for you.
Yeah, you're gonna want something a little comfier. If your commute, I say, is longer than like 30 or 40 minutes, you might want something a little comfier. Yeah, it looks great going down the road. Give us some juice. It pulls nice, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does.
It's super linear.
Getting back on a V-twin, I miss that power plant so much. It's so great. The torque is just there for you.
Yeah. For those at home who don't know, Spite is I wouldn't say a diehard Harley guy, but you are a big fan of a V-twin.
Oh yeah, I started out on the Street 750 and then the Street Rod, which actually is kind of a decent American counterpoint, even though it's not really made in America anymore. It's a decent counterpoint to the SV because, you know, it's that same kind of V-twin, but this is just, there's a little bit more reliability that you're going to get out of that Japanese brand. It's a little bit more pulled together.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Street, you said it was the Street 750 you'd say competes with this bike, or the Street Rod, which one?
The Street Rod.
Okay. What engine size is that one again? 750?
750 on the nose.
Yeah, so I think the SV, given that it's a smaller displacement, doesn't have the same torque, but because it's liquid cooled and has, you know, just that little bit of extra kind of rev range that over the other one, I think it ends up feeling a little more refined, a little nicer, and the fact that you can get it for cheaper too. But I like the thought of, you know, being like, oh, the Street Rod is a competitor to the SV650. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, Harley needs to do a little bit of work to that bike to make it really compete with this guy here, but it's close, you know.
How do the ergonomics compare on the Street Rod versus the SV?
The SV sits like a true naked bike.
Yeah, super standard, right?
The Street Rod is a little bit more like a hidden cruiser, you know.
Yeah.
You're sitting with your feet here.
Yeah.
And the bars are really wide. It's like having an oar for a handlebar. But you know, I think if you're looking at both of these, especially if it's your first ride, definitely go with the SV. Not that the Harley's a bad bike. I rode it, I owned one, I put like 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it. It's not finished yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with the SV, you know? You just can't. I think the other thing I really like about that bike too is, you know, watching it go down the road, because it has like proper, you know, 160 rear tire. It's got a pretty aggressive look to it, you know, like it looks like a proper motorcycle. So I feel like those who are getting into the lifestyle, the hobby, the culture, or whatever you want to call it, you know, looks are important, and it does look like a proper bike. And
there's not much in front of you when you're riding it either. Coming off of my Interceptor,
yeah, the thing's a spaceship.
there's nothing here, which is, I actually kind of appreciate that. It gives you more of a, you know, sort of a visceral feel to it. I love that nice tall gearing on this bike. It really does make a difference. Gives you a nice wide power band to use. It really is a great learner's platform, because you could wring the neck on this thing. Oh yeah. The sort of the limits of its performance are actually quite high, much so that a beginner probably would never reach them, you know. So yeah, overall, man, I think massive upgrade for this bike. It now sounds proper, looks proper. A 10 out of 10 for me. Absolutely, it's so much classier. That other pipe was just too mean. It was not the character of the bike. Nah. But it was a good learning exercise. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed this longer format with a new Spite in here. You're probably going to see him more often as we do our triple bike giveaway. It's coming out next, I think. By the time this video comes out, the next video that comes out is going to be the reveal of our new bikes, which is crazy. So, yeah, you're definitely going to be seeing more of him, because we definitely need some help kind of wrenching on the bikes. Riding them, honestly, is the big one. When you have like 3 or 4 bikes that we're going to be giving away, riding them is going to be the big concern. So, yeah. Tune in next time. See you later. Thank you, Spite. No worries. And I'll catch you guys next time.